Alright, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. I hope you're having a good one. Today we are tying an egg pattern. Some people find it a little bit controversial. I've got no qualms about them. For us here in New Zealand, fishing rivers like the Tongariro, the Rotorua lakes, Titi, Hinamaya, stuff like that. Lake run, heading up the rivers to spawn. It's fair game. Definitely don't advocate for fishing to fish on reds, but as they're moving up, there's a lot of eggs coming down, and it is the food that they're feeding on. It'd be like saying don't, fish a caddis during a caddis hatch, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, we'll crack into it. This one's got a lot going on with it. It's pick and choose what you want to add into it, kind of thing. But I didn't see value in doing one video for the egg with the veil, one with the egg and the flash, one with the egg and the bead. But yeah, this one, so it's a veiled, beaded egg, so we refer to them as a bomb. Got a bit of weight, gets right down to the bottom. To start with, got a 3.5mm red tungsten bead with about 8 to 12 wraps of lead underneath it. We've then got some fluoro steelhead orange Eggstatic chenille from Semperfli. For the milt or the veil, use sparkle dubbing. You can get actual products called egg veil, but I quite like this. It's quite fine, moves around a lot, and sort of it gets a real translucent look to it. The milt or veil, milt is the fertilized egg. I'll let you use your imagination to do that. They can also represent the connective tissue when the eggs are all dumped down in a big load. Hook wise, we're using a partridge egg or caddis hook. Alternatively, I quite like the Kamasan B110 as well, or Arix do a curved nymph hook, which works brilliantly too. Thread wise, going with the red Semperfli Nano Silk, of course. We'll crack into it. Hopefully it's a pattern you find handy, but yeah, let's do it. Happy tying. Right, again, thread wise, we're using the red Nano Silk. I'm using a Dr. Slick bobbin here. Quite like them with the nano. It's a ceramic tip. Works really well. And we're just going to get that thread base in. I've already put the bead and the wire on. There's nothing overly outrageous in getting that done. I'm sure you all can work it out. Anyway, we're just going to build that thread base in and really get that lead wire jammed in underneath the hook. You might lose a little bit, like you can see that bit coming off. Sometimes it happens on the little, the business or tag end of the wire there. No, that's alright. If you're too worried about it, add a couple extra loops of lead on there. And we're just going to build up that base. Now if you hold out the thread to a 45-degree angle from the hook, that'll force your thread back over a bit and will make a nice thread base. Right, just going to put a little bit of flash in the tail here. This is just Semperfli crystal pearl. Again, these steps you can pick and take what you want to have in there. This one's, I guess you'd say, a bit over the top maybe, but I'll have a couple in the fly box. Good to have a few, definitely a few more with just the bead and the veil. Again, it's just a chance to show you all the steps without having to worry too much about doing 3 different videos. And I'll still fish a couple of these as well. Just trim that off, it doesn't need to be long. And we'll go on to the first part of that veil. Right, now we're on to the veil. It's using Semperfli sparkle dubbing. You can actually get products that are called egg veil, which is good material too, but I much prefer this. It's finer, it moves around a lot more, and when it clumps up, it looks really, really translucent. So we're just going to tie that in over top of that flash. Just like that, nothing too crazy here. You just secure it down nice and tight. Get rid of that stuff. And then I don't just cut it, you don't want to cut it straight. You want it to be really tapered. So I just take my scissors and just slowly run it through like that. If I feel like it is too bulky, just pull it up, trim it away, just cut it off at the base. You just want a really nice tapered, almost like a tail. I'm just going to just hang out the back there like that. Then we'll move on to the Eggstatic chenille. Right, Eggstatic, really cool. You can see it just in the background there, sparkling away. Got heaps of little UV fibres in it, which just glint away and catch the sun, the light, whatever's available. You're just going to get a little bit at the end there, tie it in. Okay. Just trim away this little taggy end of it. Get it nice and secure. Up to you. Doesn't hurt. If you want to make the fly a bit more stable, a little bit more durable is probably a better word for it. It's just a little bit of glue under here. That'll help secure your chenille down. Now, somewhat similar to if you're heckling a feather, you're just going to preen this back a bit as you go. Get around that hook point. And it kind of just naturally wants to sit in just a little round shape, like an egg. Just get it nice and snug behind the bead and secure it in with that nano. And because the nano's so fine and strong, you can really get it up close to that bead. Secure it in. Get rid of that. And if you're really fussy about it, you could go through and you could, trim its shape a bit more. I haven't found it matters though. Move on to that last bit of veil. Right, the veil. Arguably the more tricky part of this one. A nice clump of that sparkle dubbing again. And keep it nice and sparse. See, it's just nice and laid out like that. And you're just going to shroud it over top. And get a little bit tricky. And just pull it down so it's secured behind the bead. There we go. Our thread didn't quite want to behave, but we got there. And depending how much you want over top, you could double that back too. And just try to work it around the bead. You could also tie some in the bottom if you want. Again, just with the scissors, I pull until you get loose stuff free, and then just slide them through and trim away some of what you got there. This one's maybe gone a little bit too thick on it, but if you want, I've got another little bit, and just for demonstrations purposes, just slide it up underneath, pull your thread up, and instead of pulling tension down, when you come up, pull it up, pull the tension there, and that's going to keep it underneath your hook. I'm just going to get rid of that on that one. There's a fair bit on there. I probably went a bit too heavy on it with that one, but just trim it away. But when it's in the water, that's going to be really translucent anyway, so don't stress too much, and it's going to look like a veil that melt over top of the egg, while the Eggstatic's really going to shine through. But we'll move on to the whip finish. Alright, whip finish. A lot of people can do this, but if you haven't done it before or you're just learning, so you got your whip finish tool, you got the hook, you got a little notch down the end there. So if you pull the thread towards you so it's parallel with the ground, I guess you'd say, pull the hook down on top. Sorry, it is hard to see here, but you can kind of just see that thread. Pull it down, loop your thread between you and the tool, and back around that little notch, and just get it in there and go however many times you want. You can put some glue in there if you want, or head cement. I kind of find if you concise enough with it all, you shouldn't have any problems. And there we go. Just unfortunately hooked my thread on the end of the hook there, but that's alright. Right, and there we have it, a veiled egg bomb, egg pattern, however you want to call it. These are great, they get them down nice and deep. Usually if I'm fishing the Tongariro, I prefer a caddis than an egg, but this is a good way to hedge your bets a bit, I guess. Have an egg in there, have a caddis in there, but fish do love eggs too. So often I'll fish this either with an unweighted egg behind it or more often an unweighted caddis. But again, it's a great way. You have two different types of flies down there doing the job for you. Again, we've got the sparkle dubbing for the veil, fluoro. It is fluoro steelhead orange for the Eggstatic material. Sorry, I just had to double check there. Crystal pearl flash in there, 3.5mm tungsten bead, some lead wire, and the partridge egg caddis heavy hook. Again, Kamasan B110 or an Arex curved hook, great options as well. But that's it. It's a simple pattern. When you get used to them, you can really crank them out pretty quickly. I hope it works well for you. Happy tying. Cheers.